Okay, this video is going to talk about how to bisect an angle or cut an angle exactly in half. And really this thing is based on the last construction you did, which is going to be bisecting a segment. And you'll kind of see how one of these constructions can make another one, and build off of each other. So we've got our angle. In this case, I did an acute angle. I'll make sure I do an obtuse angle on the computer. So we're going to start off by taking our compass set to some distance, big enough that it's not going to be super tiny down in the corner, but small enough that I'm not going to go off the edge of the angle here. And we're just going to make an arc right through it. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and mark these points out. One thing that a lot of people like to do now is they like to think of this as the third side of a triangle. And that segment that you have there, we know how to bisect that. We know how to find the exact middle. And if we find the exact middle of that segment, we know that's going to be on the angle bisector of this triangle. So I'm now just going to use the exact same construction that I just used to bisect this segment. I'm going to set my compass to just over half. That's more than just over, but it'll work. And I'm going to draw an arc through it like that. Flip the compass around to the other point and draw an arc that crosses twice. And I've just created the perpendicular bisector of this segment. And now what you'll notice here is the vertex of the angle and both of these intersection points all line up. And that creates the angle bisector that we were after right there. And the reason that works is because we found a point that is equal distance from both sides of the angle right there. We've actually created two congruent triangles, which again, we will come back to later on when we talk more about triangles. But that's why this worked. We've actually created two congruent triangles. So the last thing here that we got to talk about before we flip over to the computer is we've got the angle bisector conjecture. Okay, and the angle bisector conjecture says that every point on the angle bisector is equidistant from the sides of the angle. And you think about it, that's exactly how we constructed this bisector. We found 2 points on the angle that were the same distance from the end, because that's important, and we found the point that was equidistant from both of them. And that created the perpendicular, or the angle bisector. Now let's take a look at doing this on the computer, and we'll do this one with an obtuse angle. So just like before, we're going to construct our angle down here somewhere. As a reminder, the ends of these lines, they're actually arrows. They are not special points. They just represent that the line goes on forever, so you can't use the ends there. So I'm going to take my compass, put it right at the end point. You can make it as big or as small as you want here, just reasonable to use. And then we're going to make an arc that crosses through both sides. All right. Now, if you wanted to draw that line segment in, you certainly could, but you don't have to. All you really have to do is go in and make sure, again, that your compass is more than halfway across. And I'm actually going to make mine a little bit bigger. I'm pretty sure it was more than halfway, but I'm not 100% sure. So there, I'm 100% sure it's more than halfway across, and now I can make my two arcs. It is okay if it does that on an obtuse angle. It probably will. We're just looking for 2 intersection points. Move it to the other side, right there, and I can flip the compass around. And again, we're looking for those intersection points. So when we go to draw our angle bisector, we're going to draw it from one of these intersection points all the way through the other. And we've created our angle bisector. We've cut it in half. Now, technically speaking, you don't even need this side here. You already have the point of the vertex. If you just create one intersection point, that's enough. I know most people in the past have preferred to just do both, and then they're in 3 lines in a row. That's okay too. So we've created now an angle bisector, and we've got, I think, 4 of our basic constructions down. We know how to copy a segment, we know how to copy an angle, we know how to bisect a segment, and we know how to bisect an angle. From here, we're just going to keep building on those basic ones. Next up is going to be to create a perpendicular line that goes through a random point as opposed to straight to the midpoint of a segment.